hello guys, and welcome back to another Redcast One video. So, I know I don't usually have discussions about writing, even though I am a web novel writer, and I won't claim that I am the best or that I'm that good that I can give people lessons. But after watching Marvel's What If, I saw something that I think we should have a discussion about, and that is how humor can be used to undercut tension in a story. Now, I know it's the usual thing. A lot of people will complain about Marvel humor. You just have to go to any subreddit that talks about unpopular opinions or rants, and you hear people talking about how Marvel humor is dumb and how it's for kids. And look, I personally like humor, Marvel humor as well, if it's done right. I'm not advocating for the grim DC Zack Snyder try hard type of writing or type of storytelling. No, I mean I liked Thor Ragnarok for hell for sake. So here's the thing. Marvel What If is a good series. It had some spectacular highs. For example, the Doctor Strange episode, the Killmonger episode, hell, even the Sharon Carter episode, even though it was one of the weakest, it was okay. My problem started to come in when you got to stuff like the zombies episode. Now, the zombies episode is a classic example of how humor is used to undercut the tension. In the zombies episode, you are seeing your favorite characters get murdered. You're seeing them being turned into zombies. This is some horrifying stuff. And the Marvel writers want you to care. But here's the problem. They keep undercutting everything with a joke. Sharon Carter, her death from Wasp. Wasp cracks a joke. The worst of it comes from Ant-Man when they find him in Vision's lair. Why Scott sees one of his friends, I've forgotten the guy who plays the polka dot man in Suicide Squad, get dragged off by Wanda to be killed. And Scott doesn't scream in horror, he cracks a joke. And that takes me out of the episode. It's like you want me to care about what's happening, but you keep telling dumb jokes. I know they're all trying to copy what Robert Downey Jr. and what the other great Marvel writers have done. And look, what if? You can do, what if does great humor? You can do great humor in a dark story. But you can have moments where you have this big cinematic moment or this big narrative moment, and then you add a dumb joke. Let me give two examples from the same movie of how the narrative was run well and how it was run into the ground by a dumb joke. For example, let's get Thor Ragnarok. Thor Ragnarok is a big ass comedy. So in Thor Ragnarok, you get Odin's death. Now in Odin's death scene, there are no jokes. It's played completely straight. And that's great. It's played completely straight up to the end, even up to Hela's arrival. The only joke is when Hela tells them to kneel and Loki says, I beg your pardon. But that's just a small joke and it isn't something that overtakes the scene. It's a great moment. Now, here's another example from the same movie Asgard's destruction. You have the destruction of Thor's home. You're overlooking it, you have this deep, dark scene. Everything is serious. And then Korg cracks a joke. Why? You just when I remember the destruction of Asgard, I don't remember this sorrowful, horrible moment. I remember this dumb joke about that Korg cracked. Hell, look at different examples from different hell, look at different examples from different Marvel movies of moments which were carried because the writers realized this isn't a time to put a dumb joke in it. For example, you have the destruction of Tony's home. You have when the Avengers broke up in Civil War. There were no jokes. It was played serious because that's a moment that you play serious. Hell, even in What If, episodes like a Doctor Strange episode. Can you imagine the Doctor Strange episode if it had jokes like the one that Ant-Man was cracking? Like I know the writers wanted to put in some levity into the show because, well, the zombies episode was very dark, but at least take it a wee bit seriously and settle down on the jokes. You didn't feel the weight of what was happening in that episode. And another way that this really pissed me off was with Party Thor. Now, I'm a bit mixed with Party Thor as a character because I enjoyed Ragnarok and it had some extremely dumb moments. But I enjoyed Thor's more lighthearted portrayal there, and I enjoyed it a lot in Infinity War where they balanced his darker side and his lighter side. And in Party Thor, I actually liked the Party Thor episode because, well, the episode worked in the world that it was in. It was a complete comedy. You couldn't take anything seriously in it. And that allowed me to suspend my disbelief a lot. It allowed me to enjoy it. But then it comes to episode 9 in the fight against Ultron. And Thor is just cracking jokes throughout everything. This guy has been told that there is a psychotic robot destroying the multiverse. A robot who has not only killed a version of him, but a version of Asgard. You don't get any scene of the character being retrospective of it. He's just cracking jokes. And look, I'm glad that Chris Hemsworth can get to have fun as Thor. But let's not forget that even the quippiest Marvel characters, e.g., Iron Man, had moments of seriousness to them. And I feel like Thor is just becoming the classical dumb himbo that Hemsworth really loves playing. And look, you can have fun. For example, in Infinity War, that's my favorite portrayal of Thor because you have the two aspects. You have Thor in his darker self and Thor being more lighthearted. And I like that. I like that Thor has depth. What I hate is when Thor is nothing more than a joke. Because look, I don't want Thor to be too overly serious and stuffy, but I don't want him to be too much of a joke. Every one of those characters in the episode 9 had some depth or some seriousness to them for the situation that was going on. Thor just felt like a joke. Hell, I would have rather had Captain Marvel replace him because at least Carol, you could have felt the gravity of the situation. When Ultron shows up, that Viva Las Vegas thing, I just wanted Ultron to snap his neck and I wouldn't want to, and I wouldn't have to hear it anymore. Look, I like humor, but humor has to be balanced. You just can't keep cracking jokes regardless of the situation. And I get it. Maybe this is something that I think a lot of people who draw maybe even inspiration from Marvel stories, from the MCU stories, I mean, should be able to realize that they should be balanced in how the characters behave. You just can't have a character constantly telling jokes regardless of the situation. The most egregious example, like I mentioned before, was the zombies episode. Because it really, really gets annoying when you have these horrifying scenes and a character just comes out of nowhere and makes a joke. Like, why? For example, Happy's death. Happy is the first character, the first human good guy character on the guy on the people side in the present time, other than the flashback, where we see get infected. And his entire infection and death is a joke. Like, I don't really get what was with the blam joke. And it was annoying. And like I said, humor is best used well. You just can't keep interjecting it into scenes where it doesn't work. And I hope Marvel, the next What If, they're able to balance it properly. Like for example, the Party Thor episode. The Party Thor episode, even though I've mentioned how I disliked Party Thor in episode 9, I liked him in that episode because that episode made sense in the world that it was in. It was a comedy. I couldn't take it seriously. But if you take that character and you put them in a different situation and they're still behaving the same way, it gets annoying, it gets irritating to have them there because they don't feel like they belong. So yeah, this is all I had to rant about. Look, I don't hate Marvel. I just hate it when they overdo the humor. And I think that's something that a lot of authors or writers should know. Humor, don't overdo it. So yeah, this has been Red Chaos One, signing off.